listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
Now, this is Frank Skinner with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Hey, text the show on 8 12 15. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
Morning, Frank.
Morning.
Thanks to Danielle Perry for her work this morning. That's what they always do on Proper Radio. I thank the previous...
On Proper Radio?
Yeah.
You,
Proper Radio. I have heard some Proper Radio.
I think we saw inducted into the Radio Hall of Fame, or what was it called?
It was the Radio Hall of Fame. It was in Birmingham, but it was the Radio Hall of Fame.
And we saw that, and you're claiming that you do improper radio.
No, I'm not claiming that. I mean like proper radio. I mean radio that's not that great.
Commercial.
I mean, that's what I mean.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not including Absolute in that.
No.
I was listening to Danielle this morning and she called somebody a dude.
Oh, yeah?
Now, you see, I don't think I could carry that off.
Well, try it.
She doesn't have two people picking her up on everything like that.
Right,
You see. So if I unironic, this has been unironic.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't hear the fingers doing the inverted commas, in the air around the mic.
I mean, that's basically what
we would
Emily and I
eat you
are booked
alive
for, isn't
if
it?
you did that.
You would?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd be lost.
That is what we're booked for.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Do you remember when that referee dropped his cards and Paul Gascoigne came up and gave him a yellow card? Was it a yellow or a red?
Yes.
We're basically like that to you, aren't we? We just run around.
He booked that, Paul Gascoigne.
Yes, he did. I'm not saying that you can't lash out in that referee
exactly.
style.
You've made
as well.
life difficult for yourself. You could have just employed some yes men who'd laughed at you all the time.
totally.
I find yes men are much harder to find than they used to be.
Keep looking.
It's true, though. I mean, honestly, it used to be they always be all over the place, yes men. It's one of the... in fact, I think yes men... Yes men.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, there'll be people in there sending the names of band members of Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
No, I'm not having
trivia?
it. Not having it.
You're not having it.
It's not having it.
Anyway, look, as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted by last week, we ended the show. We started an email from a reader and we mistimed the whole damn thing,
It was a
let's
shambles.
face it. So we said that we'd carry it over to this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to start the show with an email.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. What next?
I'll reread it to bring people up to speed.
Go for it,
Come
Al.
on.
A week-long
Go for it,
cliffhanger
dude.
seems too much to ask them to have memorised
I
it.
think the week-long cliffhanger is certainly a television tradition, isn't it?
Definitely.
But carry on.
Hi, Frank and team. A football/fashion accessory, whatever happened to? The little bags.
You were waiting for the jingle then.
I was, yeah.
I'm sorry, I let you down.
I love the pause then.
The little bag goalkeepers used to carry onto the pitch.
Yeah.
In the golden era of English keepers in the 80s, they would all carry out a little bag containing spare gloves, a cap, chewing gum, and would be placed in the back of the net.
Well, we don't know what was in the goal,
No.
this little bag.
Well, I have a theory
Well,
about
you
it.
did.
Some of them came
Some of us
out,
did.
but there could be stuff. Yeah, yeah. I think you carried out a thorough investigation.
Oh, yeah. Seen a few in my time.
But yes, carry on.
Well, I think they were goalie gloves bags. I think they were actually quite a flat bag, like,
No, but they did have. I have seen caps and chewing gum come out of them.
Goodness me.
This man, is it a man or a lady? You said this?
I don't know.
5 years old. Is it a man or a lady?
I'm so used to referring to women as ladies when I'm talking to my son. Let this lady come past. But I've gone back completely into lady mode.
I'm not sure.
I like it.
That's my short answer.
So is that the end of the email?
No, they then give you some praise for...
Oh, no, leave that. But who's it from?
I don't know.
Oh, well, I mean...
There is
know what
no
to say.
name on the end of it. This is very true.
It's a good one, though.
It is.
Because it used to be an ever-present, the goalie's bag.
Yeah.
I can't think
they
of
had
one
a
now.
side wall that was only like an inch, like it would fit in gloves. I'm very surprised that it could sneak in a cap as well.
No, I'm sure I think there was all sorts of muffler for cold games.
Well, we did have a tweet.
Could you play in a scarf? Would that be allowed?
I would love that.
Because they wear
I
gloves.
think they wear a snood sometimes
Like
now,
a Nick
but-
Kershaw snood.
Yeah.
I would love that. We had a tweet in relation to it. Goalkeeper bags. What about players wearing proper McEnroe-style headbands, a la Steve Foster?
Oh.
Yeah, that used to be done, I think, partly to sort of distinguish themselves from the other players on the pitch. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No idea.
But the goalie's back. Oh no, it's got the fez has arrived. The producer puts a small red fez at my side, which means shut up. So we still haven't got round to the goalie's back, but we will, because I think it's the centrepiece of the show on which the whole thing is built. It is the stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So the goalie's back. I think it comes from a time when goalies were they were a bit more outsiders in the team.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Definitely.
And I think the actual goal, was sort of like, it was like temporary accommodation. It was like a halfway house for the goalkeeper. There was always rumours that they were mad. Everyone said,
They were mad, yeah.
And it was like a little lean-to that they lived in for a short period.
Like his little shed.
Yeah, it was their place. It was like shed. I'm surprised they didn't have stools to sit on during lulls. Because there's a whole sense of that. It's like their little world. Literally, the goalies, their area.
Yes.
But
that's why the bag was some sort
part of it was having your stuff with you.
Yes. Territorial
Yeah.
They were
spraying,
different.
if I'm allowed to say that.
I mean, they were different. This is explored in the novel Goalkeepers Are Different by Michael Hardcastle, which I read when I was at school. I think it's aimed at adolescent boys predominantly.
Was it as good or better than Skinhead Escapes, which was one of Frank's favourites?
I don't remember Skinhead Escapes, but
that, of course, was the sequel to Skinhead. It preceded Suedehead and Boot Boys.
Oh, they all sound good.
A whole string of those.
As you know, I read a lot of Judy Blume as a young man.
Well, I was reading Are You There, God, It's Me, Margaret.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
I
Very
didn't
good.
read a book until I was 21, as I was telling you last week, a book without pictures.
Caught up now, though, haven't you?
Oh, God. That's me, Mr. Catch-up.
But,
Anyway.
but goalkeepers were different. Even, like, when I was at school, I remember they seemed so different because they had long sleeves. All football shirts were short-sleeved and goalies were there with their long sleeves.
Well,
Green
I don't know that
jumpers.
is technically true.
No, it wasn't.
Because I
Like-
remember Dennis Law used to pull his over his hands, but never
Not in
mind.
professional football.
They often had a curly... I mean, I
Oh.
know a lot of footballers had curly hair, but I felt they could have more freedom with their hair, the goalkeeper. They weren't so... I didn't feel... Because they weren't in the thick of it. I remember... I can think of a few curly. Peter Shilton was curly, wasn't he? Was Ray Clements curly? I believe you might have.
No,
had a
he
few.
wasn't curly.
Oh, he's ruined my theory.
Do you remember when Neville Southall stayed in the goals at half-time? So he didn't go through his half-time chat. He just, then he had a sort of a... He looks like a man who shouldn't have had a bag with gloves. He looks like a man who should have had like 18 carrier bags in the back of the goals.
Dave Besson, was he curly?
He was
Yes.
curly.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, he was.
You.
Oh, I'll say.
Oh, we've
He
had
was.
a message
Good
about
penalty
Ray
saver
Clements.
as well, wasn't
Ray
it?
Clements used to love the goalie cap, and I believe it was pre-stand development at Anfield, where the sun would frequently blight the goalkeeper's eyesight.
Here's another thing. Back then, like, people in society didn't really wear baseball caps, did they? So the idea of wearing
No.
a hat whilst playing football, I remember it thinking, what's happened here? Like, who wears a hat during
No, it
sport?
was quite a big deal.
it's
But
really
I bet they loved that moment when
Yeah.
they went in the bag for their cap.
Really odd.
Those moments that change in a football match. Like I once saw a game at West Brom at Port Vale, and suddenly, very unexpectedly, a snowstorm. I mean, a really big snowstorm happened kind of like that. And the Albion fans instantly started going, orange ball, orange ball, orange ball, knowing it was imminent.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've been discussing those little
Keepers,
bags that
yeah.
goalkeepers carried on, and 934 has texted, Dear Frank, Em and Alan, our goalkeeper in our pub team keeps his cigarettes and matches in his bag.
Really?
Yeah.
That's lovely.
I wonder if they're partaken
that.
of during the game, or if it's just a half-time delicacy that he's going for.
Well, that's like the old comedians take your wallet on stage with you, isn't it? So nothing happens in the dressing room.
Good point.
Yeah.
When I used to collect autographs at the Spring Road training ground with the West Brom players in the 60s and 70s, every one of them had 20 Embassy in the goal packet. Every one of them used
Really?
to. Often stuck up one T-shirt sleeve. Do you remember that tradition?
Excellent.
I loved that tradition.
Yeah.
Frank,
Oh,
I got it wrong with the curly hair because Ian Walker. I mean, I've never seen a man with such straight hair in my life.
Oh, he was the king of the curtains.
Oh,
Very
really? King of the curtains.
And what was his wife's catchphrase?
Hiya.
Yes.
Because she had a show called Hiya.
I don't think it was
with
his show.
Susie Walker.
Was it a show?
was.
Was it a feature on This Morning?
No, it was her own show called Hiya with Susie Walker.
Yeah, lovely. So, oh yes, this morning's texting. Are
Yes.
men ever described as bobbly? 8, 12, 15. I've never heard a man described as bobbly. Well, there was that time.
Well, are
I think-
women ever described as flamboyant? I would say no.
Are they not?
Well, I think flamboyant was oftentimes used as a euphemism.
Oh, yes.
And you
I-
couldn't say someone was gay.
I worry
in
a bit
obituaries
about
and things.
bobbly, but we can discuss this as the morning goes on.
Okay.
I think I've been described as bobbly once in my
I worry a
life.
bit about bubbly. That was
that-
the
Are you
80s.
okay?
No, it was by a gastroenterologist. So that's fair enough. I was talking about Neville Southall, the former Everton goalkeeper, who can I recommend his autobiography, The Bin Man Chronicles.
I would like to read that. That
Really?
sounds
It is
good.
very fine. I think he was the originator of the T-shirt with the message on underneath the normal
Oh,
football
was he?
shirt.
You think he invented
Was
it?
he an
I
early
think-
adopter?
I
love
I
stuff
think-
that people invent. You know, Roger Moore claims that he invented the Magnum.
Oh, the ice cream.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How did he invent that?
But that's just a chalk ice on a stick.
Well, that's what he
Was
said.
he some
He
sort of
said-
Margaret Thatcher chemist?
Apparently, he met somebody from the ice cream world, and he said,
Yeah.
"I'd really like a chalk ice, but as a lolly, because they melt all over my hands." Next thing,
Roger
Magnum.
Moore used the word lolly. I'd like a chalk ice as a lolly.
He does all the voices.
Yeah.
But I love
Very
that.
good.
Anyway,
I love
he's-
that he feels the need to boast about that when he's James Bond.
I know, exactly. It's probably at the time of the Dirty Harry films. And he
Maybe.
thought he wanted to get part of the Magnum action.
Frank, it's like when Chris Jagger, Mick Jagger's brother, said to me, "Yeah, we get a lot of celebrities living around here. Michelle Collins, all sorts." Like, your brother's Mick Jagger.
But you think Neville Southall came up with the T-shirt caption?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And he is...
If found, please return
I
to
think
pub.
I think you can guess some of the background to this particular T-shirt, which we won't go into on Breakfast Radio. But his T-shirt message was, "I love my wife."
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
I'll tell you what I did. This is another football. We don't talk about football much on the show, so I'm enjoying this bit.
Well, I like that we talk about it in a Neville Southall "I love my wife" T-shirt way on the show.
Well, yeah, well, this is a sort of a... because it's something I did. I had... this is a while back now, but this has reminded me of it for some... I had need of a funnel.
Oh.
Now, I don't know about you. I'll tell you what, I was putting a cup of tea into a plastic drink bottle.
Were you?
The car had come, I'd just poured a cup of tea and I really fancied it, so I put it into a plastic drink bottle.
Tory
so I could-
MP with an excuse.
Yeah.
Paper cups
I
around
was
her.
putting
Well, I
a cup
don't
of
really need an
tea,
excuse.
officer.
It's not that big a scandal. Frank
It
Skinner
depends
seen
where
with
it was, the
bottle of tea. And I don't know about you, but I don't keep a funnel.
No.
There's one under the sink, but it's not. You wouldn't want to put tea. I mean, it's been
got-
used for,
I've got a travel
domestic.
funnel, but I always forget to take it. with
Travel
me
funnel?
places. Yeah.
Does that fold out
It's
into a funnel?
really flat pack. It's really good, but I never remember it.
So I used a vuvuzela. Which I'd bought and brought back from the World Cup in South Africa. And
They were so mocked at the time, but now
The heat.
I don't know if you remember,
Very
but
useful.
The noise. Oh, the noise.
FIFA banned them almost, well, certainly the Premier League and that banned them almost immediately after
Yeah.
the World Cup. So I was left, with one on my hands.
Yeah.
So it was just standing on a shelf on its broad end. And
He finds a use for everything.
yeah.
Reduce, reuse, recycle. That's what he's all
It's
about.
his approach to everything, and
Yeah.
I have respect for it.
And then I went to a fancy dress party as a unicorn.
Perfect.
No, I didn't. I made that up. Yeah, I went as Jean-Paul Gaultier, Madonna. What? Another found in 8-12-15. What did you do with your vuvuzelas?
Frank, Adam in Chingford has been in touch, not about the vuvuzelas.
Now that would be brisk
Yeah,
work.
that would be extraordinary. Frank, how did Southall ever show off the said T-shirt? It's not like goalkeepers score often, then go off celebrating. He says often, in fairness, it does happen often, then go off celebrating, removing their kit on top. Did he just stand there mid-game?
I think he might have took it off at the end or something like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
But that's a good
Marvellous.
question.
Yeah.
Maybe walked up to a
8-12-15.
camera.
How did Neville Southall reveal his "I love my wife" T-shirt? There'll be loads of scousers who know the exact what minute in the game.
Might be my favourite texting we've ever done.
Yeah. What if Neville Southall was to take? Oh, he wouldn't probably remember either.
No, I think he's... Yeah.
I hope they're still together. It's not
Well-
it's not my business. As simple as that.
Do you know what? It's not our business, Frank.
No, it's not our business.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
We're talking about Neville Southall this morning on Absolute Radio, Frank.
Yeah.
And my
Keep it topical. That's my
My
motto.
friend Scouse Tony's been in touch, and he can exclusively reveal that it was at the end of the FA Cup final celebration.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, the
God,
I Love My Wife
I'd forgotten
T-shirt.
that completely. Oh, well, there you go. So,
We've also...
have we had some, what you did with your Vuvuzela?
Yeah, we have.
we have had a bit of-
Vuvuzela recycling campaign.
We have had a bit of-
618 Al, did you see that?
Yes. Vuvuzelas may be fashioned into Olympic torches for school projects.
Very good.
Simply add gold gift wrap and Bob's your auntie, at least in my family, says
That's-
James Henley.
James in Henley or
Excellent
James
idea.
Henley? Yeah, I like
question.
that idea.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of schools, it's a shame that the dunce's cap is no longer traditional.
Is it? Is
Yeah.
it a shame?
Well, just
you're
for the
right.
sake of
Spare the rod and spoil the child, Frank,
of the
you're right.
recycling of vuvuzelas. It's a shame. As you say,
Okay,
in a-
we don't
in
want
a-
that quote taken out of
no,
context.
as an overview, it probably isn't a shame that the dunce's cap.
Has anyone in this room ever seen an actual real dunce's cap? Frank, were they around in your time?
I don't.
I think I just missed them, probably, to be honest.
I tell you know what? It'd be so long. I don't really remember. I hope they weren't around in my
Okay.
time.
We've also had a text from...
They had the D on, the big D as well. It's a funny thing that they just had the initial on, as if
What
it
were
was.
they big white triangles, or were they made out of paper? Anyone
like a-
worn a dunce's cap, text in.
It was a
Text
white
in.
vuvuzela type thing, and it had a big D drawn on it for
Yeah.
dunce. They didn't even write dunce on it, because
They
obviously
just had
it's
too much
D.
like hard
And
work.
did
the
the
dunce
person-
wouldn't have been able to have read it anyway.
Did the
probably.
dunce have to sit in the corner wearing the cap?
I think. I don't know. I mean, I picture them like that, but I mean, they must have been mobile during the day. Did they wear it all day?
Oh, no, I would have said just
no.
for the lesson,
I
sure.
was just standing in a corner for a while, but I might have got it wrong.
Yeah.
We've had a text from 833. I like this. I think this will steer us back towards the goalkeeper's gloves bags.
Okay.
Hi, Frank. I'm a goalkeeper with curly hair. I keep extra gloves, towel, cap, and my mum's car keys, brackets, because she always loses them in my bag. Freddie, age 10.
Oh,
Yeah.
Now the towel often used to be hung in the side netting.
That's
You know
nice,
what I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about? That it was like their little halfway house, the goalies. Even more so, they used the net as a towel rack.
That's some shower gel up there.
I know, it was so
Lovely.
much.
Bet
their
Neville
little-
Southall's towel was quite a sweaty affair.
Yes. I'm not sure he owned one.
Frank
Skinner,
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
So, turns out we've had a text from 8794183. The Dunce's cap was actually in the last Tory manifesto.
Oh,
No, I've made up that
a bit of
correspondence.
politics, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were so confident. I reckon we could get fox hunting. What about the dunces? Yeah.
Back.
Stick it in. Stick it in. We'll be fine. What about, though, after the grammar school thing?
They brought in Dunce's
Our
cap.
plan is to return to the
The
dunce's
dunce's
cap.
cap.
Yeah.
Someone actually arguing for it on Question Time. I'd
Oh,
love
yeah.
that.
Yeah, I think
happen.
I think incentivizing is very important in education. Anyway, so I'll tell you what would be another good thing for a vuvuzela. Make a nice ice cream cone for a T-Rex.
Yeah,
You know the T-Rex very short arms.
Yeah.
very much left out of the ice cream cone world.
Can
weren't
you
they?
imagine one holding so let's say a cornetto and
Very
just
short
not
arms.
not quite getting across
Yeah.
to it?
It's a poor physiological design.
Well, it's because
It's-
I think they branches, didn't they, from trees? So branches, they can pick their length,
Yeah.
so they're all right.
Well, come on, is that, or are they just a bit Maradona in the body states? You know? Zena Higgs has been in touch, Frank.
I like the sound of Zena Higgs.
Just to say, we called one of our cats after Neville Southall. Weird emphasis, I'm going to do that again. Just to say, we called one of our cats after Neville Southall. He used to get Southie Boy for short.
Okay.
She says he was the first cat to be named after a sportsman. It's quite a claim.
That is quite a
Ever?
claim.
Ever? Or is it maybe she means in their family?
I'm going to have to hand it over to the 8, 12, 15ers.
That's a bit like voted best chip shop in Britain certificates.
Name a chip shop that doesn't have that.
Well,
Come on.
well, there's Mr. Haddock on Streatham High Street. Oh, no, Monsieur. I think it's Monsieur Haddock.
What about the Codfather? There's
That's
always a
it.
Codfather.
If ever I have a chip shop, I'm going to call it Monsieur Haddock. I really like that.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 8 12 15, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Don't you know? Yes.
We've
All
had
true.
what may be the conclusion of our Dunce Cat chat.
Okay.
Maybe not. It could be fake news. Frank et al. Dunce's cap, named after Scottish Catholic theologian.
What,
The name-
Don Scotus?
The name Dunce was applied by Protestants to some deemed incapable of learning.
That's from Stu Ross.
That's
Okay.
from Stu Ross, indeed.
Did you say we'd had someone who's actually worn one, though?
Oh, yes, there was somebody who...
He said he wore it in the 60s.
Kevin claims, "Hi Frank and the gang, I remember the dunce hat, white pointing, you had to stand in the corner all the lesson in the 60s.
To be fair to him, he didn't say he wore it. He
True.
remembers it.
That's true.
He may have seen it on others.
Maybe.
I think
I
we
mean-
can say it's gone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's one of those things like spate of burglaries.
It's just one of those things, isn't it?
No, let me finish. It's never used, thank you, outside of the context of the cap. Really? You
Well, I
wouldn't
don't
call
thi-
someone a dunce,
Oh,
I think.
would you?
Well, Alexander Pope's poem, The Dunciad, was all about the stupid...
Late review.
stupid people, stupid hack writers and stuff.
Oh, was
like
it?
that. Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. Bit of Popey news.
I got zinged with some Pope there.
I spent much of last night wearing cardboard spectacles.
did you?
Yeah.
Oh, hang on, are we doing dream analysis again?
No,
Oh,
Is Kath going down a bit of a specialist interest route?
no. I should have said, where was I at the
Oh.
end? And no, I'll tell you,
Where were you?
I saw Kraftwerk at the Albert Hall.
oh, excellent.
And
you?
it's a show which features three-dimensional
Feet.
things.
Yeah.
How rarely do we use the word dimensional? But I think the 3D, as abbreviations go, has been tremendously successful.
True.
Yeah.
Very true.
And worthwhile. You know, some of these abbreviations, there's no point to them.
Yeah.
Whereas that's worthwhile.
Well, on the ticket, it just had three dunces caps lined up. We were supposed to draw our own conclusions. They do use traffic cones, actually, or they used to, as a symbol.
Craftwork.
So, which
Do
is, I think probably...
It looked
traffic
marvellous
cones are
spectacle.
the link between the Dunce's cap and the Vuvuzela.
Yeah.
Anyway, they were absolutely magnifico, I must say. And
Do they actually appear? Because I saw some pictures on the social media, some videos, some GIFs, all sorts. And do they have models? Standing?
they have. Well, in the old days, they had these robots built because they didn't like doing publicity launch parties and stuff, so they used to send robots of themselves to do the gigs.
I think that's fabulous.
Yeah.
I've seen versions of that when people have turned up, but they've basically been on autopilot.
Comics phoning gigs in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But last night they got their own encore, the robots, and of course there is the song robots, which they do. I can show you a picture of it later.
Good.
Okay.
See, am I allowed legally to take pictures at the Kraftwerk gig? Anyway, I did, but it was fantastic. The other brilliant thing, actually, I'm thinking of starting a new series on the show. We had.
Okay.
Do you remember we used to have Stony Ground?
We did.
Then the whole series fell on Stony Ground and was gone. But I thought, what do you think? This is a new series. I don't have a jingle for it, unfortunately, but I'll see if I can put one.
Okay.
It's called Some Funny Things I've Said Recently. What do you think? Because I think it's such a shame. I always think if I lived with a constant camera crew at my side, like on Big Brother, I'd be designated the funniest man on the planet.
Okay.
But I mean, you only get a sliver of my
Even
work.
if you say
I
so
have
yourself.
called you that in the past, in fairness.
That's good of you.
Yeah. I just didn't think you were going to bring it up on the show as a regular
I
section.
thought there was a tinge of irony.
I'm very excited by this potential new feature on the show.
Well, here I was in. Let's go first of all.
We're not going to have a jingle, Frank.
Well,
I
Not this
really
week.
think
Maybe
this
next
needs
week.
one. Can't he sing one
Let's
of his
see how
little
it goes.
songs?
I'll see. Let me see.
When he does his little songs, he sounds a bit like Elvis Costello.
Yes.
I love it when he does that.
Some funny things I've said recently. So I was in a restaurant, and I ordered the rump of lamb. I ordered,
Did you?
and
Interesting choice for the summer.
yeah, because
nice one.
we used to have a saying on the show, didn't we? Too hot for lamb.
So we went to a restaurant and it was too hot for lamb.
Yeah, someone ordered lamb. We went, a bit hot for lamb, isn't
Too
it?
hot for lamb.
As if, lamb sales must have plummeted in London this week.
Yeah.
30
hot.
degrees.
Really
God,
hot.
oh, God. So I ordered the rump of lamb, and the woman came and said, I was at a table of about 15 people, and she came over and said, I'm sorry. I said, I'll have the rump of lamb. She said, I'm sorry, it's not actually rump of lamb. We've tonight, it's shoulder of lamb.
Right.
I said, well, I'll have the shoulder as long as it's not cold. Right? And she said, no, it won't be cold. And I said, not leave it, I'm going to leave it there.
No.
And I said, no, I mean, I don't want the cold shoulder. And then she really laughed, and I was so glad, just a little bit of perseverance had got her
Frank.
there.
Oh, good for
I'm
you.
so pleased for you.
But not everyone at the table had heard me say it, so then I had to tell them.
Right.
But again, it went all right.
Did you get a laugh the second time in the retelling then?
It got the sort of laugh you get when you're eating with colleagues who are slightly below you on the pecking order.
Or is it staffter, as we call it?
It was staffed, yeah.
That's what we call laughter.
Staffter. No, I know there were people who were certainly my equal.
Oh, good.
I just did a symbol to suggest that was ridiculous. But I mean, I never got to the bottom because they hadn't got the rump.
Very good.
No, I
yeah.
never got to the bottom of why what had been the lamb rump became the lamb shoulder. I wonder if after they'd done the slicing, they found out one was facing in the wrong direction.
Oh, yeah.
Is that possible?
Possible.
Sounds simplistic, I know. But anyway, the waitress really laughed once I'd explained it to her. And there are many definitions of happiness,
Yeah.
but that one. But then...
That had everything for you.
But then, hold on, what's it called again, the title? Some things I said, hold on, I wrote it down. Oh, yes.
You said...
Some funny things I've said recently. Something like that.
Yeah.
I was talking to a man who, I love retelling my own. Is this for me? Okay, sorry, the red fez
The
has
red fez
arrived.
has arrived, okay.
Shall I save it?
Yeah, I think you should save it.
Trail it.
I know, but you don't know when between jokes, do you?
Yeah, but this isn't
Set the
any
next
old
one up.
joke.
I know, it's
This
like,
isn't any old joke. This is a some funny things I've said recently joke.
but if you went to a trapeze act,
Right.
you wouldn't, they'd just let go of the first trapeze and you go, you know what, I have to go to the toilet,
Yeah.
and turn your back and not see if they've made the next trapeze.
Good point.
But I'm
Well,
getting a lot
you
of
say a
pressure.
good point, but I mean, that means we should keep them on tenterhooks.
Okay.
Okay.
I wish we'd jumped straight away, because now what we've done is we've dragged it out. This bit.
Yeah.
This is-
Agonising, isn't it?
This is dead air.
How long will
This
this
is what
go
I
on
call
for?
proper radio. This is what I would say 96% of radio I listen to is like. This is, and I don't like it down here. Down amongst the dead men, I don't like it. So anyway, let's have something else.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
What about this? I was talking to a guy this week.
Is this another one of the...
No,
funny
someone
things?
else I said
is
that
it?
was hilarious.
Oh, okay, great.
And
That's all the show is now.
this one I particularly liked, actually.
Excellent.
Okay.
But
Here's
this
a funny
guy,
story for you.
we were talking about when people used to. This is one of Bozzy's the school dads. You know, I was talking to one of the dads, and we was on about when people used to go to New York. You'd say, "Whoa, be careful, New York." No one ever says that
Right.
anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
But it used to be like quite a
Rough.
actually. People warning you about going to New York. And I said, when I went to South Africa, I actually sorted out my will before I went to South Africa. I was fairly confident I wouldn't come back. Turned out I come back with a vuvuzela.
Yeah, which you've used as a tea funnel.
Yeah. Who knew?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's one of those when people say, hey, if anyone had told you then you was going to use that as a tea funnel.
You wouldn't have believed
So
it.
people said that most people have said
Yeah.
things to me like,
If anyone had told me...
if I'd have said, yeah, I've just been inducted into the Radio Hall of Fame, said if somebody told you that when you was, 10-year-old in West Bromwich, I'd have thought, who are you? Leave me alone.
Why are you telling
What
me
a
things?
weird thing to tell anybody. Anyway, this guy said he's a mate of his was in, I think it was Bogota, and he got shot,
What was that, Colombia?
and they
Yeah.
shot one of his testicles off.
Did they?
Oh,
And
nice story.
say that, can't I? Hold on. No, apparently I
No,
can't
you know
say
what?
that.
I once said that in the context of Jamie Oliver eating them on a show.
I
and
think
it was
it's all
fine,
right to
yeah.
say.
I think it's okay.
And he said to the guy, "You were lucky."
Why?
Well, because his whole private parts could have gone. There was in the
Oh,
proximity.
private part.
And I said,
Right now, aren't that private? They're being discussed on commercial radio.
and I said,
That's what Frank called
and I said, and I do on breakfast radio. That's what I call it. And I said to this dad, I said, I like that you managed to put a positive spin on someone having their testicles shot off. I
Yeah.
said, you're obviously a man who feels that the scrotum is half full rather than half empty.
Oh, my goodness me.
See, Al appreciated it.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
It was Father's Day I love Father's Day.
You
last
get all the
Sunday.
attention, don't
Oh,
you?
man, it's brilliant.
Is it like your 60th all over again?
Well, nothing can be quite like that. That was. But it's. I got up in the morning and they got me a bowl of fruit
Lovely.
because there aren't many things you can really get me.
Breakfast in bed?
Happy Father's Day bunting.
Wow.
Kath's a big fan of
They got the
bunting.
bunting out.
Well, what happened is we got bunting up for my 60th birthday,
Oh, yeah.
and then not long
You were
after,
happy that day, weren't you? You were so happy.
and then
Make it sound like he's never been happy
It was.
since.
and
Happy day, though.
and then it was like Buzzy's birthday, and then it was my then it was Father's Day, and then it was my mother-in-law's birthday this week. So we've just kept it up and just changed the stuff. So like,
Should you just keep happy up and then change the...
yeah. So Buzzy's 5 balloons has got like a 7 written in front of the 5 in Sharpie.
Yeah.
Obviously not that Sharpie when you're writing on a balloon.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, so we just keep the decorations up and we modify them as the turn of the year. Anyway, Buzz got me a card, and it said, "I love my dad because." It was a collar, like neck and shoulders, with a tie on it, and it said, "I love my dad because," and it was a school, and you had to lift up the tie, and then he'd written underneath why, and it said because, and I written up, and it said, "My dad is funny."
Oh, brilliant.
Best review I've ever had. And I still, even then, I thought, there's only one N in funny. Does that mean not completely funny?
Pony.
But really, fantastic. So I finally got round to constructing the picnic table I bought him a couple of months back.
Oh, really?
As a thank you.
Bit
As a
of
direct
DIY.
result of
As
the
an
good review.
he gave me incentive. This is why the dunce's cap should be at least reconsidered. Because it fired me up, that card. And so I got the alum.
Oh,
Allen.
is it Allen
I think
key?
it's an Allen key, but it's also been changed to a hex key, hasn't it?
Oh, it's making me
I
come
thought
over all
it-
peculiar
I
when you
thought
talk
it-
like that. I love it.
I thought it was alum ending with an M for monkey. You're saying it's Allen with an N. I thought it was ALUM.
Oh,
I don't know.
Frank,
I mean,
I-
would I
Allen
know?
Key. No,
I do
don't
like
think
it when
so.
Alan gets a bit open the car bonnet.
I don't know anything. I mean, if I open
Pulls
the
the
car
shirt
bonnet,
over the back of his head.
know.
I
I
mean,
do
it's all
that. But
happening.
you can't do that. I can't do the car bonnet or the Allen key thing. I feel like
But you think it's
You
with
knew it was Allen.
with a nut for Newtonian physics at the
I
end.
thought it might be Allen, like Clive Allen.
Oh, look,
the
it's named
footballer.
after somebody called Alan.
I might be wrong though. I mean, I'm very.
I
happy
know,
to
or
be-
will know. Our
Yeah.
fabulous readers.
Oh, they'll let
What
me
is
know.
that? What is that key called, and why?
It's definitely
It's
been changed
Allen
to
with a
hex.
Y.
though.
Is
8,
it?
12, 15. No, it's 8. I think. We don't know. We just don't know. And I've used one recently.
Maybe this is why they changed it to hex key. That's
Are you
very
sure about
recent.
this hex thing?
Yeah.
Hex is another word for a curse. I don't want that in the house.
That's not science.
No, who wants to use a curse? Can you get the curse key out?
How are you with a cursor on a laptop? Same
The
thing.
curse. I remember when. Anyway.
Oh, right. Play the music, yeah?
Anyway.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
We've had various correspondents saying it's an Allen key, Allen.
Okay.
E-N.
What
As
a
it was made by the
fool.
Allen Manufacturing Company.
Fool of mine.
Thanks to Mark in Manchester.
I'm going to call this a correzione. Yes.
Excellent.
Alan Kate. Does it say who Mr. Allen
No,
was?
no, there's been
It just
no...
says the Allen Manufacturing Company.
does it?
Respect to
Yeah.
them. See,
Respect
As was
to
the Allen wrench it refers to.
Oh.
The less
never used
popular
that.
Allen wrench.
Yeah.
Difficult second album.
Alan Wrench does sound like someone who works in your office. Yeah, I was talking to Alan Wrench about the
Yeah,
the
it's-
Chasworth deal. He reckons we can go 7K.
Sure, it's Allen.wrench.
Yeah.
If you were
Wrenchy.
ping me over an
Wrenchy's
email.
coming. Oh, Reggie will be there.
I think Wrenchy asks you to ping him over an email. Do you?
I really hope so.
But you recently used an Allen key for the assembly
built
of
the table.
picnic table. Was it
How did it go then?
It went well.
Oh,
Good for you.
It's very satisfying. So it makes me feel like a father.
Oh, yeah.
I love
It
that.
makes
you
me feel
managed
like a man. And then I went crazy. I bought. Well, here's the debate here. I got a lot of leaves left over in the garden, right? So I bought. I said I need a leaf sucker,
Yeah.
and my personal assistant said it's a blower, isn't it?
I
said,
thought you were
"No,
going to say she refused to do it.
I said I don't want to blow them. I want to sock them. I want to sock them into a thing and not throw them away.
A vacuum.
She said, I've looked it up. It's the same thing.
Is it?
You just not socking and blowing generally, but you can.
No.
There's a switch on it. You never hear about leaf socking, do you?
Hang on, why don't they do that? It's much better than blowing.
But people always talk about leaf blowing this, leaf blowing. So anyway, Don't they? I saw there's a leaf blower.
Do they?
Well,
Yeah.
more often they talk about leaf socking. I saw one of them leaf sockers down our road. You
You're
think that was an insect?
You're right.
Anyway, I got it, and
Did you buy it or rent it?
I got it. I bought it.
Just threw money at the problem. He works
did.
hard if he wants to
I
get
did.
What's your
himself a
leaf
leaf
blowers? Are they-
sucker /
you don't
blower.
have to say, but are they expensive?
They're not. I think it was like.
Oh, don't be vulgar.
No, I'm not asking you to name the
Don't tell
price,
us.
Alan.
Okay.
No, do. Go on. 3 figures.
No, it wasn't that much.
Well,
it
it's
was,
all
it was
right, isn't it?
sob 3 figures. But
Fine then, isn't it?
so it's.
why
I
you
don't
bothered?
have that many leaf-based tools. I've got a rake.
I reckon you've got the lot now. You've got your rake.
Yeah.
You've got the
You got
sucker
your-
/ blower.
Yeah, but
Well, that is technically a leaf. So,
What
here's
else is there, a
Did you
spear?
use it? Did
Well,
the sucker or the blow motion go off first?
No, I switched it on to sock. It's quite clear. And I socked the leaves, and one big leaf went in, and that was it. No, then it stuck. To switch it off, get that out.
Oh, no wonder they don't use that sucking
I
function.
mean, what I needed was a list of tree leaves that were used, some of the smaller tree leaves. I mean, we've got lots of trees around our garden. They're the traditional wooden ones.
Yeah.
The leaves.
And the leaves, when the leaves come down, one big leaf, it gives up the leaf socket. I mean, it was
What have you got,
such
palms?
a disappointment. That's gone into the shed. I would be surprised if I ever pick it up again.
Can I ask you a question, Frank?
I went in there an hour later to spit on it.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
It's not an entire waste of money, your leaf blower / sucker. Frank.
that
right? Jackie and David on the way to the Isle of Man have texted saying, Frank, your leaf blower will be handy in the winter when you want to blow away the snow from your drive.
Well,
Apparently, so don't...
I don't think we've had a covering of snow in London for about 7 years.
And have you got a drive?
No.
Depends which gaff you're talking about.
Oh, good
Oh,
point.
come on. Come on.
Good
I mean,
point.
come on.
You've done all right for yourself. I'm
Done
just
all right.
saying.
Worked on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Puts up his own picnic tables. Kept it real.
People resent it. You get a lottery winner on, they get a round of applause. Where's the justice in
Well,
that?
not from me, they don't.
Where's the justice in that? So part of the Father's Day thing, I took Boz to a thing called Star Wars Identities. Do you know what this is?
No, is it Star Wars
Sounds good,
characters who've committed crimes? And there's a parade
Like
of
it's a
sorts.
lineup.
Yeah.
It was. It's at the O2.
Lovely.
It's basically a Star Wars exhibition.
Oh, yeah.
He's. I don't know if I told you this. He's just turned 5. He's seen the main 7 movies.
Right.
Now is that all right? Is that a social services job?
No,
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
fine.
social services.
There's a couple of the only bit I got really anxious was the bit where Anakin Skywalker crawls out of a lava pit.
Spoiler alert, I've not seen that one.
Yeah, and his legs have been dissolved.
Oh, have they?
That bit, I was edgy about that.
They're taking a different turn than I thought.
It was 4 at the time, boss,
Yeah.
and I thought maybe this is a bit over the edge. But generally, it's knockabout stuff.
Okay.
So we got through that. And he went to his birthday, his 5th birthday party. He went as Darth Vader. Interesting choice.
Excellent.
It's nice.
It's interesting, his obsession with Darth Vader. It's not the normal one that the kids
No,
like.
that's not. I mean, that's not what you'd really normally go for.
Great fun.
Well, he's an outlier. There you go. You see, I like the. I was the Chewie fan, as you know.
Oh, like
I love Chewie as well.
Yeah.
At this exhibition, which I'd recommend, they've got Chewie there. You know, a Chewie suit.
Oh, give him my number.
This is Chewbacca, in case you don't know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
And it's the first time I've had the chance to stand and have a good look at Chewbacca.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he's often he's busy. I think we can say that about Chewbacca generally.
He's
Creature you
rushing
see
around
in movement. Yeah,
with that
Yeah.
record bag on him.
You know, he's got.
I mean, he's like
know.
a West London dad with that record bag.
I know. I'll tell you something else. I've never really noticed before how swept back his hair is.
Very swept back.
I don't mean his face. If you forget his facial hair, and if you shaved his face and neck completely,
Oh, the hair.
but just left the normal, that swept back hair,
He's something of the Richard Keys of him.
I would say with the hair and I'd think he's a bit Richard E. Grant.
Yeah.
You know, when you look at Richard E. Grant and you thought, can he reach his hair to comb it? Because it looks very high in the air, Richard E. Grant.
Yeah, it's high, isn't it? There's a
It
high
is.
dome. Sometimes that can be a concealing thing, but anyway.
You think?
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Can we just re-establish? Chewie has the record bag, sort of, and then it's a sort of studded belt.
He has like bandoleros, you know, with
ammo belt
weapons
type
in,
thing.
with bullets.
He styles pants,
And he
isn't
favours the crossbow.
He
Is
does.
he styles pants?
Oh, there's no trousers on
Okay,
there.
lovely.
No.
There's no trousers on Chewbacca.
Doesn't need him with all that fur.
That's my family motto. I don't know.
Yeah.
No idea why.
Is that your version of no flies on me?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what he was very fascinated by, Boz. He stared at it for ages. Princess Leia's, that sort of Art Nouveau brass bikini she wears when she becomes the
Yes.
slave
Yes.
of
Oh, yeah.
Do
Jabba the
right,
Hutt.
Very popular with the teenage boy.
Yeah, but he really stared at that. And I stared at it a bit. But I couldn't get him away from me. Which is interesting. I don't know quite what to read
The
into
apple
it.
didn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah.
But he absolutely loved it, I must say. And I loved it as well.
Good.
We sang.
Did
Did you?
you?
What did you sing?
Well, a lot of the time, you know, when we got to the Darth Vader room, he'd go,
Brilliant.
Yeah. It's a grand old tune. And I think in the cantina we went, come on, I felt you were going to join in. Nothing happened.
No, not with that one.
Come on, let's just one bit of cantina
Was there
in,
some kind of monkey in the canteen?
into the news. With,
Was it kombucha in there drinking
I
Ribena?
don't want director's commentary. Just give me some music. It's not as easy as you might think.
No.
That'll be why they use instruments in the actual film.
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I'm with Emily, Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 8 12 15. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio or email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Don't you know?
Yeah?
I'd like to discuss something this morning, which is it's a bit of shocking news, actually.
Oh, okay.
Stop all the clocks.
Should we brace ourselves?
Stop all the clocks. Daniela
sat down.
Day-Lewis has announced his retirement in what I believe George Lineker would call absolute scenes.
Oh,
No one saw that coming.
No.
Well, I didn't.
Daniel
I didn't.
Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis, 60. Who knew?
Is he 60?
He's like you, Frank. He's been drinking from the old youth elixir cup.
I'm ages with Daniel Day-Lewis.
You ages with him.
Yeah. I should say. Nice. Isn't it lovely when you hear a new phrase and get to use it within a couple of hours?
Yes.
Alan said it earlier.
Alan said his mom, if she's the same age as anyone.
She says I'm ages with. Yeah.
And
'Cause I'm ages with David Beckham.
And I'm ages with Margarita Prakatan.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There you go, yeah.
Well, I'm ages with Daniel D-Lewis. Daniel D-Lewis. I suppose his name is Daniel D-Lewis.
Yes.
DDL.
I wish he'd said I'm now entering the what one might call the twilight of my career. I'd like to now be known as Daniel Knight Lewis.
Yeah. Well, he is a knight as well.
That would
He
be.
is.
Oh, is he? I forgot that.
He was
Yes.
knighted.
Sir Daniel
You should have
Knight.
changed it
Oh, they'll
then.
take the knighthood, the unconventional ones, though, won't they? They're all artsy
Yeah.
and crafty. Oh, I'm all unconventional, but knighthood, lovely.
Best celebrity name changes. 8, 12, 15. I'll start the ball rolling.
Yep.
Puff Daddy to P. Diddy.
Right.
Frank, that's good.
Prince to that weird symbol.
Yeah, and also the artist formerly known as Prince.
Yes.
You could do with any name change if you think about it.
I've got one. Andy Cole to Andrew Cole.
Oh, yeah. Good shout.
That was one of the best ones. He changed
Good
it to
shout.
Andrew Cole officially.
Now, that is a weird coincidence.
Why?
Because this announcement, which I don't think actors normally do they? I remember when Andrew Cole...
Yeah, thank you.
I remember when he retired from international football. Years after he'd been picked. Hadn't been in any squads. Wasn't even... didn't people even talk about him? He suddenly, out of the blue, retired from international football.
Excellent.
I love that.
Well, I suppose this is a good time for me to retire from international football as well.
Yeah. I'm just going to see how it goes,
Keep your name in the hat, yeah?
But who would have thought that Daniel Day-Lewis and Andrew Cole had got so
There you
many
go.
things in common?
I didn't have thought. I
Well, he
wouldn't have
made-
thought
In
they
fact,
overlapped at all, those two.
also,
Oh, yeah.
you won't believe this,
Go on.
Andrew Cole's dad,
I can't take that seriously, Andrew Cole.
I'm not making this up, Andrew Cole's dad is called Lincoln,
No.
Shut up.
which was the film that Daniel, one of his
Yeah.
Oscar
One of
winning
his
Oh, come on.
Oscars.
I mean, never seen in the same room.
Peas in a pod. Peas in a pod, aren't they?
Weird. I bet this is the first time on commercial radio they've established the Andrew Cole, Daniel Day-Lewis link.
I think it might be, yeah. And possibly the last.
I mean,
Can
the
I
thing
say,
is- Go on.
if they made a film about Andrew Cole's left foot,
Yeah.
it would be low in incident.
Yeah.
He was quite right-footed,
That's right.
Andrew Cole. He'd have been if he'd have been in my left foot, he would, honestly, it would have been the most rubbish art you've ever seen in your life. They were right in the end to go
Yeah.
for Daniel Day-Lewis
He was the better choice.
over Andrew Cole.
But they've always had this, those two, fighting for parts all the time.
I think Andrew Cole got 3 interviews.
Yeah.
We should say, actually, I think he had a liver transplant or something, just like.
Did he? Andrew
I
Cole?
know he's on the mend. I'm very glad to say.
Well, we wish you well,
But,
Andrew Cole.
We probably shouldn't be taking the mickey out of him when he's just had a major operation. I know he's getting better though. He's out there again. God bless him. If you're listening, Andy, sorry, Andrew. Oh God. Anyway,
Say Andy, hates Andy.
He was a cracking player. I hope he gets well soon. I think we've cleared that up.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So we're sending our thoughts to Daniel Day-Lewis, who's retired from
Yeah.
his
Oh, wow.
back-breaking schedule of making one film every 6 years.
9 items or less. Daniel
Yeah.
Day-Lewis.
He must be absolutely shattered. No
But in
wonder he's
fairness,
taken early
he
retirement.
does win an Oscar every time.
Well, he's
See?
won 3, so he's
Yeah.
9 items or less, but he's in Waitrose.
He's done a few. He hasn't done. He did Lincoln that you liked, and the milkshake one.
I loved it. I love Lincoln.
There are unemployed actors that ripped up their newspaper when they saw this getting so much press.
Well, I'm suspicious.
God.
I'm a bit suspenders about this one.
Really?
Because he's got the new film out in December.
Yeah, he thinks it's
award
rubbish.
season. He wants to get his last Oscar. Come on.
Maybe that's true.
Wants the big four.
I thought you might
He
be
wants
thinking,
the big four.
This is a great way of upping his fee for his next film, isn't it? Like, oh, he's no longer available.
Well, that's
really,
true.
we'll double his fee. Oh,
well,
okay.
I read he was worth 50 million.
Did you?
He's done well for himself.
50 million.
Yeah.
Respect.
Do you think I ought to retire from acting so that it ups my fee?
Oh, of course, I forgot you were still acting. I thought you had retired.
Over a 20-year acting career, I've played Jason the Asthmatic, Broken Leg Patient, the Chauffeur.
I think I know.
Barman.
I think I know what queue you need to be in.
What?
9 items on that.
I don't know. I think it could up my game if I announced my retirement. People could suddenly get really interested, like
what does
happened
that
for Daniel
put me in?
Day-Lewis.
I'm in that cigarette kiosk queue then.
Well, apparently, when he retired from stage acting, he was mid-play.
Yeah, because he was playing Hamlet, and he
He's
thought
playing
he was
Hamlet.
speaking to his real dad.
Because he's a method actor.
Yes, and he thought that was his real dad, I believe.
Well, he saw his real dad, apparently, and he walked off stage in tears and didn't come back on. I don't know what they did. Did it carry on, or did the understudy?
I think the understudy
He's such a volatile man. The understudy sits dressed as Hamlet in the wings.
Possibly, yeah.
I wonder if you'd notice. I hope the understudy was a really big fat bloke. Just come... Oh, dear. He tried to hold back the tears. He's got water retention.
I know. It's a bit announcing it, though. It's a bit people announcing they're leaving Twitter, isn't it? Isn't it a bit attention-seeking? Just go. Yeah. Why do these people do, so I'm leaving. From the 12th of July, I will no longer be on Twitter, just so you know. And then a few months later, so I'm just coming back just to say I will no longer be on Twitter.
Is it a bit Ringo Starr refusing to sign autographs?
Yeah.
I'm warning you with peace and love. I'm every time I read anything about, I sort of forget about Daniel Day-Lewis because he's a bloke who sort of goes away for long periods.
That's what he wants.
And then whenever I read anything about him, I feel like reading everything about him. He's really he moved to Florence to train as a cobbler.
Yes.
That's one of the things he did. Not for a film.
And a cabinet maker.
Just because he was interested in it.
I think he trained as a cobbler to get a cobbler's shop and a key cutting.
Yeah.
And then he's got the sports trophies in the window.
Yeah.
You know, they engrave the trophies.
Oh, yeah.
So consequently, get the Oscars, and when it comes to changing day to night on the names, he can handle it himself.
He can do them all. He's thought ahead, Frank.
There might be an interim period when he's called Day Afternoon Lewis.
Love that.
I like to see him moving
Daniel Day
to
Afternoon.
Where did he name changes?
Well, also, that sounds like a solicitor's. Hello, Daniel Day Afternoon Lewis. He could be that.
Afternoon, actually. I mean, I don't know if I'll have another child now, but afternoon is
private information. Revealing on air.
Oh, God. So, yeah, went a bit caricature.
Never say never, eh?
But I think afternoon...
That's something she's never said.
Afternoon would be a lovely name for a child, wouldn't it? Afternoon Jackson.
Actually, I love afternoon.
Yeah.
Frank.
You know, I mean, people call their children summer, don't they? So it's still sort of...
Afternoon
it's just
is
a different
lovely.
Time span, really.
But I think it's a nice name.
Yeah, it's all right.
Afternoon Cochrane.
Oh, but you'd get so many people laughing at you and making silly jokes in that way. Afternoon, Frank.
I'd sign my signature PM Cochrane.
Oh, nice.
Do you prefer afternoon or evening as a name?
No, afternoon's better.
Okay.
Afternoon, because it sort of brings you in more gently. Evening, it's too much like Eve. People call you Eve. What's the point?
What about morning?
True.
Morning I don't like because I don't know how you're spelling it.
Exactly.
You have to think these things. You shouldn't rush into a first name like that. But afternoon Dean.
Love it.
Afternoon Dean, it's great. Afternoon Dean. Afternoon. I imagine a sort of 1930s cleric walking past.
What if, let's say, Emily changed the name to Afternoon?
Hang on, what does it mean? has got to do it.
No, I'm just giving it a
I'm not saying it's a girl's name, sexist.
But then if you saw her on a morning, you'd have to say morning, afternoon. It'd be a nightmare.
But I'd love that.
That's true.
Would you?
I might do it.
After you'd be called in the office.
Yeah.
That's what. Who's the bloke in the office we talked about earlier?
We talked about James someone Wrench. Alan Wrench.
Oh, that's right.
Alan Wrench.
Yeah. He'd call you after. How are we going to get out of this?
Well, can I just
link?
quickly tell you something? He was a very private person. Well, he was. I mean, he's still here.
Who, Alan Wrench?
DDL.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Oh, I thought it was
When
about
I was-
Wrenchy.
I remember when I was at the Sunday Times magazine and I was training and I was quite nervous, and someone said, "Can you ring up and put in a request to do an interview with him?" And his agent said, who was no longer with us, I think, but a very theatrical chap called Julian Belfridge, and I said, "Hello, do you think Daniel Day-Lewis would be interested in an interview with the Sunday Times magazine?" And he said, "Sorry, lovey, no can do." He put the phone down on me. I quite liked him for
That's
that.
when someone told me that they'd hired Danny LaRue for a thing, and Danny LaRue said he'd do it, but he always took his dog with him, so that the dog would be at the hotel. They said that'd be fine. And then about 2 days before the gig, the hotel changed their mind, said, "No, we can't have a dog with."
Oh, no.
So this bloke had to phone up and tell Danny LaRue. And he said the entire conversation was just, "No dog, no Danny."
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Short memories.
We were talking about
yeah.
name changes, and 116 got in touch saying, "Hi Frank, my favourite name change was snooker player Jimmy White changed his name to Jimmy Brown as part of a sponsorship deal."
Did he
Excellent.
really? Temporarily, I take it.
I would imagine so.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
went
think
back
he's
to
now called Jimmy Brown.
Did he change the credit cards and things?
like snooker players always do. He went back to white. They always go back to
Of
white, don't they?
course, yeah. Exactly. Well, there was a guy in Wolverhampton who was part of a Beacon radio promotion for, I think it might have been the Phantom Menace, going back to the Star Wars theme. They asked if anyone would be prepared to change their name by deed poll to Darth Vader,
Excellent.
just for the duration of the sort of publicity thing. So this bloke did it, and I had a mate who ended up working with him. So,
Oh, yeah.
So he said, "Yeah, you need to ask Darth Vader about it." He said, "Why'd you call him that?" And I said, "That's his name." And what had happened is he changed his name to Darth Vader, and then he got a phone call after the film was out and stuff from Beacon Radio saying, "Right, we got all the stuff ready to change your name back again." He said, "Oh, I'm not bothered really." He said, "It's fine, it doesn't matter. Kids like it, you know." So my mate, when he met him, says he didn't know any of this. So he said, "You're a massive Star Wars fan?" And he said, "Not really, no. I've seen them, you know. They're all right, not that bothered." "Yeah, but you're called Darth Vader." Oh,
I love this
Wolverhampton.
story.
I like that he wasn't that bothered either. It's something
No,
he
it's
didn't
not
have a
like-
strong opinion on,
No,
being called
exactly.
Darth Vader.
I don't know what. There was some incentive for changing his name, but it was like 10 shillings.
Yeah.
Maybe some tickets or something.
They
Good
put him
for
a
him.
£10 note in a card, I think.
Excellent. Good for him. But Daniel Day-Lewis,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's the bit that it's funny you mention his agent, because
What
I
I
found
like about this is he's not changing his name anyway, Daniel Day-Lewis. The main theme, you know, is the name change.
Yeah.
Right.
I just speculated it would be great if he did, but I
If he
don't think
chose
he
to.
hasn't
he's not
announced
going
it.
to go to Daniel Knight-Lewis as you suggested.
No.
It's
No.
not. But his agent announced it, which I think is amazing, that he's saying, "I'm retiring." So there's no future money for the
Yeah.
agent now, but yet he still announced it, or she.
Gee,
Well,
I
Well, I
When
don't know,
Daniel-
there'll be residuals,
Yeah,
surely.
but when Daniel Day-Lewis said, "Oh, I'm not going to work anymore, can you tell everyone?" Why didn't the agent just go, "Well, you tell him yourself if you're not doing
Well,
anything."
exactly. What's she getting
your
out
decision.
of it? Where's she getting
Where's
that
my
money
commission
from?
on nothing?
He says. She also said this is a private decision. Oh, well, don't announce it
Why do
then.
you need a spokesman?
Keep it privé.
Yeah.
I think what he's worried about, probably, is that
apologist.
if he retires and doesn't tell anybody, then in 7 or 8 years' time, we'll be on this show and I'll say, Daniel Day-Lewis's career, Daniel D. I'm determined to call him Daniel D. Lewis.
It sounded a bit, I liked it. I enjoyed it.
J.R. Hartley.
He will be saying he doesn't get any work anymore. And he'll be at home seething, listening to this on the radio, knocking a nice pair of winkle pickers together at home.
Yeah, but
Well, he only works...
This is exactly it. We wouldn't be saying, oh, he's not getting any work. We'd be saying he's probably off being enigmatic.
Making cabinets or shoes.
Tuning a piano,
Do you
doing
think
something.
he says that? Do you think he leans back in his Parker Knoll and says, you know what? I think I might be enigmatic for a couple of years.
And then do another film.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Right, I'd say I'd like to. Would you like to meet him?
Nah.
I think it'd be troublesome.
I just think I'd be bored. 20 years ago, I was interested in him, but
Poor
now I'd be
old
like,
DDL.
oh, you make furniture, you're a cabinet mate. It says in the paper that he was convinced, he was being a cobbler in Venice or whatever it was, and was it Scorsese convinced him to do Gangs of New York? There's an unemployed actor of the exact same age that smashed his flat up on reading that, I promise you. Just
What, someone...
I can't even get a job, and he's being convinced out of cobbling.
An actor whose ages with...
His ages with Daniel Day-Lewis.
Look, if things go bad, I think he'd be a very good disability benefit cheat. Because we know he's
Heavens to
very,
Betsy.
very convincing when he's in the Social Security.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
He likes fishing, DDL.
Does he?
Does he, or is he just pretending?
Was he trying to get a part in a river runs through it and it didn't work out? Poss. Who knows?
Well, maybe he'll start doing like the Robson
Do you think
Green.
what if Robson Green pipped
Yes.
into that part?
Oh.
What if they were both up for
Yeah.
extreme fishing?
But Robson Green was doing it for a few years beforehand, you
Or
see.
they might swap now. Like Robson Green might become the most famous method actor on earth, and Daniel Day-Lewis just going around the world fishing.
Yeah,
Could happen.
certainly.
Why
You could
not?
have a nice trout farm like Roger Daltrey.
Roger Daltrey's trout farm. You ever been to a
Remember?
trout farm?
No.
Brilliant
I've
day
not
out.
been to a trout
Have you
farm.
actually been to one?
Oh, God.
What
Oh, yes.
happens?
When you buy little cups of feed
Yeah.
and you chuck it in, and it's the feeding frenzy term.
Do you see them all gather
They
then?
leap out of the water. They go absolutely balmy.
Oh.
Amazing.
Is it so they all surround the food, do they?
If you've ever been to a hotel buffet,
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
it's like that. I mean, they go absolutely crazy, the trout.
They jump all over each other like swimmers in a triathlon, don't they? Like that.
Speaking of being ages with DDL,
I love ages.
he's looking. I say he's got.
He looks all right.
He's looking. I think he's looking older.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he looks good, Frank. I would say
yeah.
you and DDL.
Yeah.
I'd say you look same ages, but I would say 49.
Really?
Yes.
No, I think I call him Daniel Gray Lewis now.
Yeah.
Because he's.
You're having
I'm
fun
sort
with his
of.
name, aren't you?
I'm fascinated to know. What about his dad, Cecil?
yeah.
So he was a very talented
Brilliant.
man.
I am, and
his
not West
granddad-
Indian.
his granddad's-
Unbelievable.
His granddad, John Lewis, he was a big retailer.
Oh, never knowingly overcast. That's got swimming, weather, and acting in it. That one.
You threw everything in that, Frank.
That's what I call multiple choice punchline.
Yeah. Why
Yeah,
not?
it's very good value for money.
Now, speaking of retirement, I was. I don't know if I've ever told you, but
dear,
in
this
my
how you tell
house,
us.
where I live, the houses are not wide. They tend to be tall. That's just the nature.
right.
You know, every place has got its.
Townhouses.
Sure.
Is that what they call them?
I believe so.
But they get
Victorian terrace on a small footprint but high.
Oh, it makes it sound like Coronation Street.
a small footprints like Robinson Crusoe.
I would call it a Victorian townhouse.
Well, anyway, so
Got one.
there are 71 stairs from the basement kitchen to my attic where I work.
Uh-huh.
So I walked up there and I stopped off on one of the other floors and went into a room and started pottering about. You know that old man singing, you think, what have I come in here for?
Yeah.
And I realised I hadn't actually come in there to get anything.
Oh.
I was basically breaking the journey because of the 71 stairs. I was thinking, I might just walk about on one level for a minute or two before I take the rest off.
It was like on a long-haul flight, Frank, when you stopped off in Singapore. That floor is the Singapore of your house.
I know, but how tragic that 71 stairs, you got to break the journey.
I'm going to count how many stairs my house has got.
Have you never done that?
No, I've never done that. I should.
Well, mine's distinctly more bijou, but I'd say probably only about 13 stairs, Frank. Maybe 15.
Really?
It's tight. It's a small bijou duplex.
Have a count.
Shall I have a count later?
The nice thing that once you've made the count...
It's more than that. It's probably 21.
I think to myself now, I've just finished a cup of tea. I'll hit the 71, I think. A bit of work. It's nice. I think everybody should know how many stairs they've got in their house.
Yeah, I've got a lot.
I'm going to count later.
I don't know if I should tell you next week or text you later in the day, but
How many stairs are in your house? 8, 12, 15. No, 8, 12, 15 is the answer.
It's massive.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Go for the apples today. Go for them.
How do you like them?
Nice.
No pushing on the top of the head, though.
No.
Noticed. I mean, that is one thing we've learned from this show, isn't it? That you could just...
They're quite soft, these ones.
Right, yeah.
I find the greens are a bit harder.
Also, I think that text in that said you use the bottom of your jaw to bite is really useful. Salient info, isn't it? I'm not telling you off. I'm just...
Okay.
It's just a reminder.
We've learnt about apples. I've also learnt about life, comedy.
We've learned a lot on this show, haven't we?
Oh, we sound like we're wrapping up like DDL.
Yeah.
816. I just like to pay homage to Frank as my mentor sometimes.
Aww.
816 has been in touch. Have you seen this, Al?
Yeah.
Morning, team. An article pinned to the notice board in a local hostelry near Petersfield states, "This is the man that a village elder told to give up acting and get a proper job as a gardener or something. The image is of Sir DDL." That's from Julie.
It's Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah.
And that man was.
No, but to be fair to him, he has actually got quite a lot of proper jobs. So that's probably why he has to go and be like a stupid cobbler job. Not that it's a stupid. There's any cobblers listening. I'm not saying it's a stupid.
It's a load of cobblers.
Oh,
but they probably wouldn't be cobblers if they could be Oscar-winning actors instead. That's my point.
Yeah.
Well, also, he can only work every 4 years, as we've established.
I don't think he can only do that.
Well, he can. He can work Olympics and World Cup. That's it. Those are his only jobs now.
He could do some stuff in the gig economy when in between. Like he could do a bit of Uber driving, maybe DHL. DDL for DHL. That'd be good, wouldn't it? If you just delivered your parcel.
It's a good slogan, but it'd have you reaching for your Google.
Yeah.
He's a knight now as well.
You're right.
He's Daniel Day-Lewis.
But he's not going to do a normal thing in between films, is he? He's not going to.
It's not in between films. It's over.
It's over. So
It's
maybe
over.
he will do a normal thing now.
Daniel
Well,
Day-Lewis.
insight into what it's like to break up with Frank there.
Daniel Day-Lewis and
He's still sticking with the D.
and Henry Blofeld in the same week.
I know. What a week it's been for
How shall we ever recover? That was a bit of Daniel Day-Lewis there in when he played Elmer Gantry.
Yeah.
Oh, one of his lesser-known works.
Yeah, but
Still
Red
on the
Hot.
IMDb.
Anyway, we must go. Look, it's been lovely as ever, if a little rambling, but what's new? Anyway, bring on the feathers.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.